Welcome to the 10-Minute Treasurer. My name is Jeff Pospisil, and I've been comparing the United Methodist denomination and the Global Methodist denomination as an accountant. And one of the things that accountants are concerned about is red tape. And actually, that's kind of how we make our living, is that we're usually pretty good about navigating red tape. Think about filing your taxes, how much red tape is in there. But that doesn't mean that we enjoy it. So I wanted to look and see which denomination has more red tape and a little bit on why they do. So first, let's just look at the volume of red tape and the difference between the two denominations. So first of all, let's look at the United Methodist. They have a book of discipline which has 924 pages. If you take, they have the 2016 one plus the edition from 2019. So you add those two together. And I just did this by opening up their PDF file. The journal, in the Dakota's UMC, we have a journal. Roughly 40 of those pages are policies and rules and procedures. I didn't do an official count, but was my guesstimate. And is it limited? And there really is no limit to the amount of red tape. I suppose eventually, if it gets so big, we'll just do a second book of discipline or something like that. But really, there's no limit on how much red tape they could produce. The Global Methodist Church, they have a transitional book of discipline. So this isn't official. Well, I guess it is official, but it hasn't been approved by their general conference yet. It's at 130 pages right now. It'll likely grow, and there's no journal yet, but I expect there will be a journal eventually as soon as they have annual conferences, which will have probably also a growing number of rules as well. And is it limited? I don't see any limit from what I've read of their book of discipline. So no limit to the red tape, but they are just starting on the manufacturing of it. You likely are already aware of this, that the biggest creator of red tape is a bureaucracy. And there's good reason for this. I have been a bureaucrat for a very long time with the state of North Dakota, as well as now with the Dakota's UMC. And it's very tempting when you're a bureaucrat to want to fix all the problems of people with a rule, which is a lot of times red tape. You're serving these different people and there's something that just doesn't look right or something that could be improved, and if we could just create a rule, maybe that would fix it. So that's the temptation that a bureaucrat faces. And so that's why we produce a lot of the red tape. Versus the average person, you're just not dealing with the system as often. It's not constant, so you're not always thinking about creating red tape or anything like that. You just don't have that luxury. So here's the United Methodist bureaucracy, at least the general agency level. So there's 18 general agencies, and they're all doing various different work. But part of the work that they are doing is producing red tape. And there's also conference level, probably somewhat similarly organized. I know the Dakota's UMC, we're pretty slimmed down compared to most. So our bureaucracy is not nearly as dense, I guess. Now, there are going to be, at least initially, a lot fewer general agencies under the Global Methodist denomination, and I just trimmed it out. There was 5 that were listed, plus there was an option to need to make more. And again, they haven't had their convening convention, so we don't know our convening conference, so we don't know exactly what at least the start will be, but it'll look something like this. But they did change the names of these as well. All right, so here's the updated names, at least that's the placeholders before the convening conference happens. And so you can see like Global Ministries is evangelism, missions, and church planning. So you can see much more of a focus on new people there. Finance, administration, and pension and benefits, they were combined. Discipleship was combined with church and society in that just ministry. And doctrine, I don't know if that was covered by anything else. Ministry, I thought that was a curious name. It's not higher education and ministry anymore, but it's just ministry. And I think this is mainly dealing again with the requirements for ordained ministry and the like. So that is what they're aiming at. People that are going to be officially serving in a leadership role like a pastor in our churches. And then there's the, I don't know, what are we going to need in the future? So I'm going to go back to this one. No change to the UMC, but there is a change, and I thought of this while I was making this video. There is a cap for the GMC. And one of the ways they cap that is that the apportionments will be officially set in their book of discipline to 1.5%. The United Methodists, there's no cap there. And I think when I very first started, it was around 4%, and they brought it down to, I think it's 3.2%. And I think they proposed 2.7% for 2020. And wonderful job by Moses Kumar, and many of our conferences too have been trying to bring the costs down. But that is always a struggle. I remember, who was it? I think it was Warren Rhodes said this, there's only one magical day of a year when people actually think that the apportionments are too low, and that just happens to be the day you approve the conference budget. But every other day, we complain that they're too high. And so I like the idea of setting something in the book of discipline that is hopefully difficult to change, so that way you can cap the general agencies, which caps the bureaucracy, which also should slow the creation of red tape. So anyway, that was my 2 cents on that. All right, hopefully you found this somewhat helpful and interesting as you're looking at it. So again, I think at least initially the Global Methodists will have a lot less red tape. I'm not sure if it'll stay that way or not. Our tendency is for institutions to keep growing and growing in their bureaucracy and in their red tape, but time will tell. All right, God bless.